I never thought the day I came back from deployment would be the day I'd have to sit in front of a screen, watching a woman snatch my disabled wife's crutches and kick her to the floor while a room full of neighbors just stood there. Not strangers, not enemies. Neighbors. The same people who waved every morning suddenly forgot what it meant to be human. That's how it all began. I'm a soldier. 3 months ago, I was sent overseas for what was supposed to be a short mission, just a few weeks. I left behind my wife Maggie, a brilliant attorney with a body that didn't always cooperate. Severe arthritis. Without her, crutches walking wasn't just painful, it was impossible. I hated leaving her alone, but she told me she'd be fine. Her younger sister, April, moved in to help out, sweet, fiery, always ready to protect her big sister. Between Maggie's stubbornness and April's energy, I figured they had it handled. Before I left, our neighborhood seemed quiet. Too quiet. Willow Creek Estates looked like the perfect suburban dream, trimmed lawns, identical mailboxes, everyone pretending to smile at each other. But underneath it all was the HOA. And at the top of that food chain sat Karen Wilmore. She wasn't just a president, she acted like a queen. You couldn't plant a flower or hang a wind chime without her permission. Still, I stayed out of it. I didn't have the patience for HOA drama. Maggie, though, she noticed things. She'd tell me, "Something's off with Karen. I can smell corruption better than coffee." That was Maggie. Once she sensed injustice, she'd dig until she hit the truth. The first few weeks while I was away were peaceful. Maggie would send me photos, her sitting in the garden with her coffee while April painted the porch. The house looked warm and alive. I should have known peace doesn't last long when power-hungry people feel threatened. One night I got a call from her. Her voice was shaking, not from pain but from rage. "They raised the HOA fees, babe, 75%, and no one's asking why." I frowned. "That can't be right." She laughed bitterly. "Oh, it's right. Karen said it's for community development, but the only development I see is her shiny new SUV and that fancy kitchen she posted online." I could hear the anger under Maggie's calm tone. She'd been investigating, going through meeting notes, payment logs, receipts. There are fake signatures, missing funds, even duplicate invoices. "It's fraud." She paused, then said with that little smirk I could hear even over the phone, "Let's see if she still walks around in heels when everyone finds out what she's done." That was my Maggie. Fierce, smart, fearless. But then her tone changed. "I called her today," she said. "Just asked what the extra funds were for." I waited. She called me a cripple, said it was none of my business. My blood ran cold. I told her not to face that woman alone. "Promise me, Maggie." She chuckled softly. "Honey, I'm a lawyer. I deal with people like her every day." Still, something in my gut twisted. I didn't like it. I didn't like any of it. The day of the HOA meeting, Maggie told April not to come. "It's just a quick meeting," she said. "I'll be home for dinner." Those were the last words she said before everything fell apart. She rolled into that clubhouse, Crutches tapping softly on the tile. Karen sat at the head of the table pretending to shuffle papers. The room was full, neighbors, board members, all looking everywhere except at Maggie. The meeting started like always, Karen bragging about repainting a sign or fixing a flower bed she probably never touched. Then she asked, "Any comments?" Maggie stood up, steadying herself on her crutches. "Yes, I have one," she said clearly. "Where exactly did the HOA funds go? Because no one's seen any improvements unless a luxury SUV counts." The air tightened. Karen blinked, fake smiling. "Excuse me, you said it was for development," Maggie pressed. "But the only thing developing is your kitchen remodel." Karen's smile cracked. "You don't get to question me. You barely contribute here." Maggie shot back instantly. "We all pay dues, Karen. You're not a ruler, you're a thief." And just like that, the mask came off. Karen's face twisted red and furious. "Why am I even being interrogated by a crutch-wielding freak?" she yelled, and before anyone could react, she yanked a crutch straight out of Maggie's hand. Gasps filled the room, but no one moved. Not one damn person. Karen ripped the second crutch away and shoved Maggie hard. My wife hit the floor, crying out in pain, struggling to get up while people just stared. Some whispered. Others looked away. Karen stood over her and sneered, "Next time, know your place." And Maggie, trembling on the ground, looked up at her and whispered, I hope you know yours when this is over. April said she felt something was wrong that night, a gut feeling. When Maggie didn't answer her calls, she rushed to the clubhouse. What she saw made her scream. Maggie was on the floor crying, surrounded by silent neighbors too scared or too heartless to help. April ran to her shouting at everyone, "What's wrong with you people?" She called an ambulance herself. Paramedics carried Maggie out while Karen stood there pretending nothing happened, arms crossed, eyes cold. When April called me, her voice was shaking. I was already on my way home before she finished the sentence. By sunrise, I was on a flight out of California. And when I landed, I wasn't calm anymore. When I walked back into Willow Creek, people avoided me like the plague. Curtains shut, doors locked, cowards, every last one of them. Karen tried to act innocent. "Oh, it was an accident. She fell on her own," she said. I didn't even speak. I just looked at her with everything burning inside me. But rage wasn't enough. I wanted justice. I took every document Maggie had gathered, every HOA report, every screenshot, every recording from the clubhouse's security camera that April had managed to get. I went straight to the county police and the district attorney. I didn't just file a complaint, I filed a case. Assault on a disabled person, unlawful seizure of medical equipment, harassment, abuse of authority, fraud, misappropriation of community funds. I made sure every charge stuck. Karen didn't even make bail. When the trial started, the courtroom was packed. I'll never forget how she sat there, hair perfect, fake pearls, smug expression until the footage played. There she was on video, yanking the crutch, shoving my wife down, then saying those words. "Know your place." Maggie testified, her voice steady but raw. April backed her up. And those same spineless neighbors, when threatened with perjury, finally remembered how to speak. The jury didn't take long. Guilty, on all counts. 12 years in state prison, $80,000 in restitution. Permanently banned from holding any HOA position ever again. When the verdict was read, Karen's mouth fell open like she couldn't believe she wasn't untouchable anymore. For once, she had no power. We moved out a month later. I didn't want to breathe the same air as those people who watched and did nothing. Maggie's recovery was slow. She went through weeks of therapy. Some days she wanted to quit. I remember her crying one night saying, "Maybe I should have just stayed quiet." And for a second I almost agreed. Maybe all of this could have been avoided. But then I looked at her, the same woman who once stood up in that meeting with nothing but courage and a pair of crutches, and I realized silence is how people like Karen win. So no, we didn't stay quiet. Maggie eventually ditched her crutches for good. The day she took her first step without them, she smiled and said, "See, still standing." And I thought about everything we'd lost and everything we refused to lose. Because justice isn't about revenge. It's about reclaiming your voice when others try to take it away. Karen learned that the hard way. Sometimes the real monsters don't live in haunted houses. They live next door wearing name tags that say HOA President.